WSOU 89.5 FM, the loudest rock. I'm Valentino, and I'm joined today with state champs. How you guys doing today?
What's
So
going
good.
on, dude?
Doing well,
Happy to be
doing
here.
well. We're so excited to have you on the show. Now, this is a really, really special interview for a lot of reasons. Obviously, anybody that knows me, has heard my broadcast, knows I've been a state champs fan for a very long time. Another exciting thing, I've interviewed over 135 artists from like Slipknot, Rise Against, Shine Down, A Day to Remember. But out of all the artists I've interviewed, this is actually going to be my last one. And so it's very, very exciting. I wanted to kind of cap it off strong, and how perfect to have you guys on the show talking about your new record. Very, very exciting stuff. So thank you again for joining.
It's your last one, and you like us more than Shine Down. Let's go.
That's a win.
Exactly. What can I say? I've been listening to you guys since I was 13 years old. It's really, really exciting to talk with you in this setting. And of course, we got a lot of good stuff happening in the State Champs fandom. King's the New Age dropping May 13th. How you guys feeling?
Super good about it, man. It's just getting closer and closer. I'm just ready for it to finally be out. We've had this record done for so long now, and it's just so much anticipation. But thank God we still love it, and we're ready to share it with the world, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, more than anything, I'm just like ready. I'm ready for it to be out in the world. We finished it over a year ago at this point. We've just been listening to it and waiting for everyone else to listen to it. So yeah, really excited.
No, that's super exciting, because I know you look at that State Champs discography, and every 3 years you guys have kind of had a record out, and then this is the longest gap we've ever seen. You guys haven't had a new album since 2018. So I can imagine, you know, as you said, waiting on it's got to be a tough feeling.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. Especially pandemic threw a wrench into everything in the music industry, obviously. So a lot of people had been sitting on stuff. A lot of bands have put stuff out during pandemic just to kind of, because they knew they needed to do it. It took a lot out of us to sit here and wait this long. But luckily, we've been able to interact with the fans in different ways through the pandemic to kind of build up the hype, if you will, for this album and this new rollout. So they deserve it. They deserve it finally. And as well as just everything that we've grown to with this community and stuff, we're excited.
And, you know, like God knows, like a band like State Champs, you're so energetic. You know, your music is so like born for that live mosh pit crowd surfing setting. And so like, this is a record, I feel like if we were to release it in 2020, 2021, I don't think it would have had the same impact. You know what I mean? Especially with a band like your sound.
Yeah, it was tough because we kind of made the conscious decision not to put it out during the pandemic because we just didn't really want it to get lost. We're a band that, you know, we put music out and then we want to go play it for people, and we want people to like feel that energy, and we want the shows to reflect like how the music feels. And there weren't any shows happening, so we were just like, we got to wait. As much as we like didn't want to personally, we knew it was going to be the best option. So I'm glad we did. And I'm like, literally just before this, I was practicing some of the new songs because we were leaving for tour in a few days. And I was just like, man, I cannot wait to finally play these songs. So
yeah, and you know, Ryan, it's so great to hear you say that, because I've actually talked to artists that dropped records in 2020 and they're touring on it now finally, and they say exactly what you said, where it's like, you know, we're having a hard time connecting to this because we released it 2 years ago. It's not like new and exciting, you know?
Yep.
That makes sense. Like a lot of just, you know, they would have been so excited to go jump on tour right away in 2020, having those songs out. And with us, it's like we have a good amount of singles out that we've kind of spread out over a long period of time now. So, you know, we have about 4 or 5 songs out now from the new album, and some of them we have been able to play because they came out at the end of last year when we first kind of started getting back into touring. But there's other ones we've yet to play, including like Everybody But You, which is like, you know, the most hyped up single that we put out in a long time. So but luckily that hype hasn't died down yet, so we're still just as excited as we'd ever be to play it.
Yep.
And I mean, even like seeing these singles in the live setting, I had the privilege to go out to Chicago. I saw you guys play at Riot Fest, and, you know, hearing Just Sound and Out of My Head, you know, it just fits so perfectly in the discography. You know, the fans were just so ravenous for this new material that it just translated so well live.
Yeah, we were excited, man. And especially at something like Riot Fest, it's a great test of that fan base and what we've grown into, and something we played before, but it was our second time back at Riot Fest in Chicago. And yeah, to hear the fans connect with the new songs just as much as they always have with the old ones, if not more excited about them, like that gets us excited to only have more and more songs out and ultimately get ready for the album release itself.
Yeah,
absolutely. And, you know, speaking of this new record, Kings of the New Age, again, May 13th, I do want to ask, this album has a lot of really cool features on it. You know, you got Ben Barlow from Neck Deep, 4 Years Strong, Chrissy from Against the Current, a lot of really good stuff, just to even just like give a brief summary. What was it like getting all these artists kind of on these tracks, all these features?
It was exciting to finally be able to do that. We've been wanting to do a lot of features and like have like collaborative like songs with our friends and our peers for a long time, but it's hard to do that a lot of times when we're touring as heavy as we are. There's deadlines, and we never had as much time as we had for this record on any of our past records. So it takes a lot more for that to come to fruition finally. But since there were no deadlines and we spent as much time as we did finding the right people to do it, we got to reach out to our friends and be like, no stress, take your time with it. Some got done quicker than others, some took a long time. But it was great. You know, one that made total sense was Ben Barlow from Neck Deep. We've been friends for so long, and he fit right on Everybody But You so well. 4 Year Strong's a band we've looked up to forever, so we've always wanted to have them on a song as well, and it only made sense for the song that they did end up on. And Chrissy was another one that was so cool because we finally found another song where we were like, okay, this needs another female vocal on it too. And we've always been friends with her, and she kills it, and she fit right in on the song that she features on as well. So it was super, super cool.
It was perfect timing too, because, you know, everybody else was also kind of, you know, going through the same thing as us. Everybody was home, everybody was looking for something to do, and any sort of excitement was like totally welcomed. So when we reached out to people, they were like, oh, cool, something to do. Like, this is going to be fun. So it just worked out perfectly time wise. And it was cool to be able to work with actual friends. You know, I feel like some people go out for features and, you know, they don't necessarily know them or they're fans of them. And for us, it was just like, let's do something kind of like a fan service, because there's a lot of crossover and everybody's going to be excited from all parties. So yeah, it was an awesome time.
And it's so wonderful to hear you both say that, like, you know, these are your friends, you know, and it makes sense because, like, you know, especially like, you know, we talk about Ben Barlow, you guys have toured together, you know, you both kind of had your rise at the exact same time. You know, a band like 4 Years Strong, you said, you know, you looked up to, they came like right before you guys. It's just a very exciting thing to see, you know, the community aspect of that.
Yeah.
And a question I had, kind of jumping off of that, springboarding it off of that, when you're writing these tracks and you decide you want to feature, is it like, okay, we're going to leave this part blank, you guys do whatever you want? Do you finish the song, send it over, and have them like rework it? When you're writing the song, is it like a, you know, okay, we need this in mind? You know, what's kind of like the songwriting process of that?
We're very adamant about the fact that there's no right or wrong way to go about writing a song or doing a collaborative like effect on a song with another artist. You know, sometimes, and we've done it plenty of different ways. So for instance, Ben's part on Everybody But You was totally left instrumental, sent it to Ben, and then he kind of was like, oh, hell yeah, I want to be on this song, I'm definitely down. And then he sent over an idea, and then I think we talked about it for like a little bit afterwards, and I think he like kind of switched a few things around and tried a couple other things just because we kind of got on more of like a vibe and built a chemistry together on what we were trying to achieve with the song. And then he sent over, I think, a second like go at it, and then we were like, perfect, that one's done.
Yeah.
So we were like, that was easy. And then something like Chrissy's part on Half Empty, which will be her feature, is something that I think we wrote the whole song, and I think that bridge was written like as if maybe I was going to sing it or somebody else was going to sing it, like maybe Ryan even. And then we were like, no, this needs to be a girl. But the part was so well written and we were very excited about it that we sent it to her, and she was like, oh yeah, I'm down. But she even took a couple lines, a couple words, and kind of took the overall like concept of the part to a different level too when she sent it back, because there's a couple little things I was like, oh, I see what you did there, and other people had noticed that too, that it becomes more of her part rather than us being like, here, sing this, you know. So there's no right or wrong way.
Yeah, I think it's kind of important to let the artist like at least have a little bit of flavor, like of their flavor on it, you know. And honestly, the 4 Year Strong one was like kind of tough for us because it's kind of a breakdowny type part, and it's something that we haven't done as state champs in a while, and we didn't know what to do. So honestly, it was kind of like, we need to give this to somebody that's going to do this part justice, because we were like hitting a wall at this part. We wrote the part, we were really excited about it. We're like, yes, this is going to be like a very like cool live moment. but none of us could figure out like what we were supposed to do with it. And
There
so
was
then,
no vocal. But we couldn't figure out what the vocal part should be, and we couldn't figure it out. Neither could 4 Year Strong. So here's a totally different take on the feature. Yeah, we had to end up like having some outside help from our producers and other writers that we worked with on the album. That then we're like, what do you guys think about this? And we were like, oh, that's perfect for 4 Year Strong. Why didn't any of us think of that? 4 Year Strong couldn't figure something out, neither could State Champs. So that's how it comes, full circle when like you work with the right people that you want to work with, including producers and engineers that ultimately make the album what it is. So it was a total team effort, which we love.
yeah, and all three of those songs happened in different ways. Like no, there was no like, this is the way that a feature works. Every single one was different. So pretty exciting.
And that's where like that community aspect that we talked about earlier kind of comes into play. Because if these are like strangers that like, you've never met and you're kind of nervous to like do, like sending over a very unfinished song has got to be, more anxiety. Whereas I'm sure when you have, your friends that you've toured with for years and them, it's a little bit more comforting to, to give your project to someone else.
You know how like I'm sure there's so many situations where like rappers or pop stars like send their song off for like to get some super expensive feature from someone they don't know, right? Or they've never met. And then they get it back and it's probably like such a anxious feeling for them to listen to that for the first time because they're probably not going to get any edits on it. So I wonder how many times, like that happens in mainstream world where it's like, damn, I'm not really stoked on this at all, but we got to put it out because it was so expensive or something like that. Like, luckily that wasn't the case with us. We're working with our friends. I can send a text. It's like, yo, you killed it. Or like, what do you think about this? Like, and that's what's different from us to them.
Absolutely. That's a really funny scenario. And I imagine that probably happens a lot in that world. But kind of switching gears a bit, going into something entirely new, I kind of want to talk a little bit about, I'm an avid skateboarder myself. I know you guys obviously have a lot of skateboarding in your culture, and especially in like that pop punk scene, it is so vital and crucial. It just works so well with the scene. I kind of want to ask a little bit about obviously having a skateboard on the cover of this new record, Kings of the New Age. I know you had a skateboard kind of on the cover of The Finer Things. Tell me a little bit about what, skateboarding means to you and in your scene.
I grew up skating, man. Like that was all I wanted to do when I was in middle school and high school, just like filming with my friends all around. And then when we first started the band and we're touring, it was always me like bringing a skateboard around and finding different skate spots every city that we went to because I'd never been there before, going to California and being able to go to like skate parks out there and like, it was kind of like a double whammy for me with the traveling of the band. So that's always like, paid tribute, and it's been a big influence, and like they've gone hand in hand, the music scene and the skateboarding scene, with me particularly, especially with us doing things like Vans Warped Tour and how connected those two scenes are as well. The guys started yelling at me after we got like more established and whatnot. They're like, don't be throwing yourself downstairs or going down handrails anymore, Derek. We can't afford you to break a leg anymore. So luckily, so I kind of chilled on that a little bit more. I'm way more music focused, but it's always been hand in hand, those two scenes, and it was cool to kind of pay back for it. And thinking about Kings of the New Age with this new branding, we knew we wanted it to be kind of more fun and youthful and, have these like SoCal vibes. So we found the right photographer, we found the right like skateboarder for it, and put the right branding all together with the big symbol on the skateboard, the guy doing the hand plant. And I think it really does like fit the vibe and the mission statement of this album.
It was kind of all about like a feeling, what does this record kind of like make you feel? And I think, we all put together like a mood board of like what each song made us feel like. And honestly, we kind of were going back and forth on the album art for a while, and we had like totally different concepts for a few months, and it just like wasn't landing. And then when I don't know who it was, but somebody threw out like, let's just go back to the basics. Let's go back to something that we love and like something that like kind of reflects the music. And for us, that was skateboarding. And so I think that's just kind of like where it came from.
And I even think like, if you're a fan of State Champs, like, I love you guys. And it's interesting to, when you hear your music while skateboarding, when you got headphones in, 90 degrees, like gorgeous day, you got the wind, and you have just this like, hard, like, pop punk in your headphones, it adds a new atmosphere to it. I feel like a lot of your records are kind of born for that setting, and it really works.
Yeah.
That's good to hear, man. I'm glad that those can go hand in hand. You know, a lot of people say like, oh, I like to run to your albums. I like to work out to your albums, skateboarding, like that all kind of like ties into each other. You could also be just like chilling at a bus stop listening to our music. I think it's got a nice little dynamic to it.
I
I
would say
agree.
one of my like proudest moments being in this band was when we were on the Tony Hawk 5 soundtrack. I thought
Oh,
that was just like
true.
that was just like the coolest thing ever to me, because growing up playing that game, like I was always the friend that was like would watch my friends skateboard and cheer my friends on. I was never good at skateboarding, but always loved the culture, always was in it. And for me, Tony Hawk was like the only way that I was able to like feel a real part of it was playing the game. So when we had a song in the soundtrack, that was just like that was it for me. So
That was a big one. And like just extreme sports in general, it seems to kind of go hand in hand. We've got a lot of friends in like the motocross and supercross scene that say they love to like ride to our music. We have friends in the WWE, professional wrestling, that like come back to us and say, you know, like this gets me through my workouts and blah blah blah. And we've developed friendships through that. So I mean, that's the best feeling I think we could ever have through that.
Absolutely. And I know how many bands were discovered through that like Tony Hawk soundtrack, like it's so synonymous with just not even just punk, but rock, like, the rock music
Mhm.
scene. It really is incredible. And, Derek, you mentioned about, the versatility of the band. When I skateboard, I listen to all your records and I love it, but probably my favorite State Champ song is like the Fix Up. And that's like a very mellow, chill kind of thing. So, you're right. There's a lot of versatility to the band that you guys can offer.
I think you could still skate to that song. I could see just kind of like mellow carving through a concrete park, listening to the Fix Up, just kind of vibing.
yeah,
It's not much like a barge down this stair set or like hit this grind or something. That's like a nice chill flowy song. So I get it, bro.
that's a longboarding song.
Yeah, it is. It's like cruising down Santa Monica
Yeah.
longboarding.
That's so funny. I was just about to say that is like a longboarding song, just the cruise and the atmosphere. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Well, another question I kind of wanted to ask you again, while I've got you here, I want to get your opinion on specifically, I know it was a few record cycles ago, but Slow Burn, because what I find very interesting about that, it's obviously like a B-side to, Around the World and Back, but it became a fan favorite. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't on the original record, but it's so synonymous with the album cycle. What's it like as an artist to drop a song that maybe wasn't, intended originally on the record, but then have it be like a part of the record in such a crucial way?
Well, we kind of thought it was supposed to be a bonus song, Slow Burn, but we did it for the deluxe edition of Around the World and Back. But it was so good that we had to release it as a single, if that makes sense. But it was also the first time we ever wrote a song with outside people, like where we brought in friends and peers from outside. So we wrote that song with Alex Gaskarth from All Time Low. And that was the first time we ever like collaborated with other people, wrote songs with other people, and learned that process. And we loved it so much. And that was just a great way to launch us into, okay, cool. Now we know that it's that easy. We don't have to be that nervous about writing songs with our friends and with other people outside of our producers and our engineers. Slow Burn became a fan favorite and is still a fan favorite. Like, and now we bring it back on like most of our set lists. And I don't think it was like a surprise to us, but it was definitely different. It made us be like, oh, should this have just been on the record, or is it cooler now that it's not and it's more of a deep cut? Who knows? But like, we love it still.
Yeah, we didn't even really, I mean, we didn't really have a choice. We wrote it after the record was even out. It wasn't technically, I think this kind of gets confusing. It wasn't technically a B-side. It wasn't something that we wrote and like we were just like, nah, it's not good enough to go on the record. It was something we specifically wrote for the deluxe when we wanted to release with new songs and whatnot. And it's just funny that was like, I mean, arguably bigger than most of the songs that were on the record, which at the end of the day, like, I don't even really think it matters. It's like, it's just a great song. It's one of my favorites. I'm happy that we ended up writing it, and I'm happy that it connected with fans and that we get to play it and that they care about it. There was like a period of time, I think we were like, we didn't play it for a while and people were like, justice for Slow Burn, like we want you to play this. And we were like, damn, these people like really like this song, let's bring it back. And every time we play it, it goes off. So maybe it was a mistake on our part to not play it for so long.
Or did we build up the hype by taking it off the set list,
That could have been
letting
it.
it die, and then people, because the fans
Maybe
always love to hear the songs that we don't play.
Yeah.
And we have these like friendly arguments with our core group of fans that say, oh my God, you got to play this song that you never play and you don't show any love for. And we're like, all right. And then sometimes we try it and then nobody cares. And so we're like, see, we told you, man, we're not going to play that song again. Slow Burn was not that. We brought it back and it was like, oh, that's on us, guys. Sorry, we'll play it. We'll keep playing it.
We messed up.
And that's so exciting to even mention, like obviously as a fan, I can see, the streaming success, the financial success of Slow Burn. But from the band's perspective, you recognize it when you play it live. That's how you gauge this song is going off. This is what we're going to, keep and push.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always say that if you're going to listen to State Champs for the first time, we prefer you to see the show live because that brings everything, gives you the full experience. And we very much rely on our live show to kind of prove ourselves and show us who we are. So that makes total sense.
Yeah, because anybody can make a good sounding record. Anybody can, make a song sound good. But when you can deliver it live and when you kind of like, you feel it from every angle, the crowd, the stage, everything, the sound, it just totally makes a difference. And I think for a long time when we were kind of playing shows early on and coming up, there weren't a lot of amazing sounding bands in our scene, at least from my perspective. And I think it was like kind of across the board, but I think what kind of made State Champs stand out at the beginning was that we were a great live band and that we kind of just brought it every time. And so, yeah, for us, that's always been like a point of pride. So.
And, while we're talking about the live shows, very exciting stuff. Sad Summer Fest 2022. I know you guys played the original first Sad Summer Fest. For all of our New Jersey and New York listeners listening into this, you guys are coming on July 22nd to New York, Rooftop Pier 17. Amazing venue, gorgeous overlooking Manhattan. And for all of our New Jersey listeners, on July 29th, you guys are coming to Asbury Park at the Stone Pony Summer Stage, another historic, legendary venue. How are you guys feeling going on this festival run again?
Oh, super excited, man, just to get a full summer tour in the US. It's been forever. I don't know when the last time we did a full US tour in the summertime. And it may have been something like Sad Summer, the first Sad Summer that we got to do. And with something post Warped Tour era where there's no more Vans Warped Tour, right? We needed something to kind of fill that void where we can get multiple bands on a package and have a great time all day outside in the US. So the Rooftop Pier 17 in New York and Stone Pony Outdoor in New Jersey are two prime examples of how we can still get that festival vibe, but very still like homey and community based where like, we're outside hanging most of the days. You can come right up to our merch tent and kind of say what's up and hang out with us. But there's still thousands and thousands of people there, a lot of first time fans for us. It's going to be such a vibe, man. And we finally get to tour again with our friends in Neck Deep. It's been forever to do that. So lots of friends, lots of vibes, and new music too. So it's a big time for us.
Absolutely. Well, you guys might not want to spoil it, but I know Against the Current and Neck Deep are both on that bill. Can we expect maybe these songs on a live setting? Is there any hints we can give there?
I don't want to speak for them, but I don't think we're not going to ask them to do these songs with us.
Very.
I could see it happening for sure. So, I think it's a pretty unspoken thing. Yeah, people looking at the flyer and being like, "Oh, I see." So, just
we
don't
didn't
miss
plan
out.
it like that. We didn't even know who was going to be on Sad Summer. It just kind of happened to work in our favor that way.
Absolutely. Well, again, I want to thank you both so much for sitting down and talking to me today. I really, really appreciate it. I've got two more questions for you. One directed towards Derek, one directed towards Ryan. I want to ask you guys again, just thank you so much, for taking time out of your day and talking with WSOU.
Of course, man. Thank you.
Of course. So, Derek, the question I kind of have for you, obviously State Champs, you sing incredible, but you also have a little bit of grit to your voice. You have that little bit of like angst and edge. Can you tell me a little bit about like how you walk that line without damaging your voice?
It's tough, man. It was tough for it wasn't tough for a long time is what I'm going to say. When we started out, I was super young, but I never had any like vocal training or anything like that. And I didn't really know what I was doing except for trying to mimic my favorite singers. And I used to love a lot of heavier music, but then I also loved like Fall Out Boy and Paramore. So I kind of like brought the like tough guy aspect to some like soulful, poppy, shiny brightness into my vocal and kind of found some hybrid that became my style. But I didn't really know what it was doing to my voice or how like how to kind of manage that. And it only took until like a few years back to realize, okay, I need to make sure I can sing for the rest of my life and not screw my up. Sorry if I can't swear. But finally started to like, make some little changes here and there. I finally started listening to people. I never wanted to have anybody tell me how to take care of my voice or technique stuff and whatnot. So now I've found the nice like balanced middle ground of like, okay, like take care of yourself, take care of your voice, focus on technique while also not like getting away from that style that I branded by myself. So it's something different that I'm still learning about every day, and I'm just grateful to have it.
Absolutely. And you're right. All your influences, they make you who you are as a vocalist. And I totally understand, of course. Yeah. And then Ryan, my question for you, I know that you're gearing up with this Kings of the New Age dropping May 13th, but it has been 4 years with any Speak Low music. Anything in the works, anything you got cooking up?
I mean, I've been working on music a lot. It just like, I feel like I've just been so busy kind of doing this. And I started a couple other projects during the pandemic, and Speak Low has kind of been on the back burner right now. But I actually had a session earlier this week and wrote a Speak Low song. So I'm thinking like it's time to put out some new music eventually. It's not done yet, but there's a lot of nuggets, song nuggets that are being, I don't know what the word is. I guess they're being harvested right now. So if we're using metaphors, but yeah, it's time. I know it is. And I hear it every day from people online. So it's coming. It'll happen.
Soon. All right. It's good to know that they're gearing up for that. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Before we officially close off this interview, there is a story that I actually want to tell both of you guys. Yeah. All right. So essentially, I'm sure you remember this incredible tour with A Day to Remember and Parkway Drive, where you guys played very small kind of club stuff, more smaller venues in that regard. I had the privilege to tell this story to A Day to Remember and to Parkway Drive, and now to sit down with you guys and kind of tell the story to all three bands of the lineup. It is very exciting to kind of close that chapter a bit. So a story time is around that time frame, I was getting my driver's license for the first time. So I was really, really, I tried to do the test and I failed the first time I took the test. And you guys came to Providence, Rhode Island, where I'm originally from. And let me tell you, I love Providence. I do miss Rhode Island a lot, but not many bands come to Rhode Island. It's a very hard state for bands to come to. Mm-hmm. So seeing that A Day to Remember, Parkway Drive, and State Champs are coming to Rhode Island, I was like ecstatic. I was so excited. And my second driver's test was scheduled on the day of the show. And I was really bummed. That sucks, but whatever. And I don't know why that they thought this, but I told this to the person who was giving me the driver's test, and he thought it'd be a good idea to take me around the venue for the test and just like hear it on the outside as I'm driving. And so I vividly remember just like the agony of like, all right, if this is what I got to do to get my license. And I'm driving around and I hear Winston McCall screaming and I'm just like depressed behind the wheel. Like, this sucks.
Man.
But I got my license and it worked out. And I've obviously had the privilege to see all three bands separately. But yeah, very exciting to finally tell you guys that story face to face.
What an insane thing. At least you got to hear a little bit of it. That's wild. I thought you were going to say that you passed and drove straight to the show.
I thought so too. Like I was going to say, you got to just park up and just walk in, go in with your driver's teacher.
Yeah, you're going to be like, listen, man, this is going to have to wait. Skirt. And you got to then run into the show. But honestly, that's so cool. And that's something you'll never, ever forget. It's so cool that now you've gotten to share the story with all of us too. So it's cool. And at least you've gotten to see us all separately after that. If you had never seen A Day to Remember, like still after that, or still hadn't seen us, I'd be like, all right, man, it's time. But you figured it out.
Exactly. As you said, it's nice to tell all three bands the story, kind of close the chapter. But yeah, I can't even imagine you're sad about this. Let's just like rub it in more. Let's go around the venue, take a few laps. But absolutely brutal. Well, again, thank you so much for talking with us today. Kings of the New Age dropping May 13th. Guys are going on tour with Sat Summerfest, July 22nd, New York, July 29th, New Jersey. Thank you again.
Thanks, man.